Hello.
I miss you.
I miss you too.
Hi, Siri. Oh, it is really good to see you today.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. Can I sing a theme song at your face?
Yes, please. Looking forward to it.
Hey, I miss you, and I hope you're doing well. I miss you, and hearing your music IRL. So I am thinking that you sing me a song or two while I just sit here in my bathroom saying, hey, I miss you.
Ah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes,
Mhm.
every show needs a theme song. I'm sitting
Mhm.
here in my big green bathroom, a place that you came to once upon a cold January day.
Yeah.
And we did a little summer song, a little Bobby McGee. I'm
Yeah.
wondering where you are right now.
I am in my bedroom right now, the
Mm,
quietest zone in the house because I don't live alone. But yeah, in Powderhorn neighborhood, South Minneapolis. That's where I
yes,
am.
I love
Yeah.
it. Your curtains match my bathroom.
It's perfect. I didn't plan that. I didn't even put
You
those curtains
didn't?
there,
What?
but it's working.
I think curtains are like, I find making choices like that super overwhelming. So it's almost a gift
hmm
to move into space and it's just done.
It's there. Yeah, you're like, okay, cool.
Right. You don't
We'll work
offend
with
me.
it. Yeah.
We can live like this. Um,
Yeah.
okay. How are you right now in the second if I clicked a Polaroid camera?
hmm
Hmm.
How am I?
Yes.
I am good. I'm home after a weekend away, which always feels really nice, and I'm hanging out with you
Oh,
on this special platform internet thing that we do more these days, but
right.
yeah, I'm doing really good.
Good. That's good to hear it. Yes, I
Yeah,
know. It's a magical place, the internet.
it is. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
happy. I'm really excited to be here with you. I'm wearing a new white t-shirt, which like brings like an extra like spring in my step because it's still
Yeah,
white. It won't
crisp.
last. Right.
Yeah. They never
Oh,
do.
no, no.
They shouldn't.
That's true. That's true. It's
Yeah.
like it's part of the way. Okay,
hmm
Humbird, I'm wondering if you will
Yeah.
sing us a song and tell us why you chose that song.
Yeah. Should I tell you why I chose the song before or after I play it?
That's your call.
Okay. I'm going to tell you before, maybe.
Okay.
I'm going to sing a song called Pink Moon for John Prine, which is a song I wrote on the day that John Prine passed away. There was a big pink full moon hanging in the sky, but I thought of this one just because I love your songwriting, Sarah, and it's sort of an ode to one songwriter in particular, but songwriters everywhere, and just,
Mm,
yeah, so I thought of
that's
this one.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Humbird, everybody.
Patience is a spell to cast. Mine never seems to last longer than a Midwest sunset wrapping around this city. I'm walking through a purple dusk, trying to clear the cobwebs and the dust of my own mind. God, I must have slipped into a slow rust. The pink moon rising to the east. Today I was not as kind as I set out to be. The pink moon, the bats swing down for bugs to eat. I'm so busy doing nothing, watching days melt into weeks. My friend is on the other line. She called to talk. Instead, we cry. The pandemic hit and her father died. Says the greatest gift she got was time. It's so hard to breathe with a tight chest while gratitude makes dinner taste the best. I'm making new meals out of leftover food so I can sit at the table and stare at you. The pink moon there between the trees. Now you're running like a madman to where the land and blue sky meet. That pink moon, it's splitting like a melon. It's sticky on my lips like secrets ripe for telling. Tomorrow I will try again to not break in two, but simply bend with the wind and the rain and the dancing stars. Distant suns lighten up the dark. I suppose that's all anyone can do. And if you promise me, I'll promise you to revel in the beauty and howl like a fool. Raise my cup to the big pink moon for you.
I love that song.
Aw, thanks.
Whenever I've listened to it, I've taken your album Still Life on a couple runs. And whenever you get to that line about today I was not as kind as I set out to be, I'm like, oh, why does she know? Why does she know that I did that? Why? Did John Prine pass in April? Do you remember what month it was?
I think it was April because I remember being outside staring at the moon and being like surprised that I could be out there that long, which sounds like an April thing.
It does sound like an April thing.
Yeah, like I think just kind of early spring at least. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a beauty. Thank you so much for singing that.
My pleasure. Yeah.
Here on my show, Hey, I Miss You, where I'm going to tell everybody what is Hey, I Miss You. My name is Sarah Morris. I have a penchant for inventing shows in my bathroom. I usually invent them on a run, and then I produce them in the bathroom. And it used to be called Toilet Tunes, and someday I'm sure it will be again, but COVID made it feel like I could not sing with someone else in this space. And I started to miss my friends, and I was also, at the same point, tired of singing to my face for live streams, and I thought maybe my friends are tired of singing at their face, and maybe they would sing at my face, and Hey, I Miss You was born. And that is
beautiful.
That is that. So every Friday at noon, I get to interview a friend, and hear songs. It's like private concerts for me, even though I share it with the world, which is great. Which is great. And this is the part of the show where I get to say, tell me something good. Tell me, Siri. Yeah.
Well, the thing that I guess this is good. A cardinal just landed on a tree outside my window.
That is good.
Really caught my eye, that bright red. But I was gonna say that I know that the sap is gonna start to flow here pretty soon, the maple and the birch, and that's always a great sign of warmer days ahead. And I've been trying not to focus so much on only liking the warm stuff and thinking about what's going on in winter. That's also really cool and exciting. And sap going up is pretty cool, pretty magical. So that's good.
It is.
Yeah.
Do you make syrup? Do you do that at all? Or do whatever is involved in that? Or you just admire it from afar?
I kind I'm definitely a city kid, but I've gone on like field trips growing up and used to work with kids, and we would go on field trips to learn how to make maple syrup from the sap and how to collect it. And I actually do have a couple of taps that I've just moved around with me to different city apartments with some like future vision of farming maple mosaic sometime in the indefinite future. But as of now, no. I'll just stare at the trees and be like, there's sap in there. Yeah.
Could you just go up to any old tree any old maple and like in the city and just be like, I think I want some?
Well,
or is that rude?
I'm not really sure I'm not sure what the like etiquette to the tree is for tapping. I mean, any sugar maple, I think theoretically, if it's a certain age, should have enough sap. And if you tap it right, you're not hurting the tree. You like fill it afterwards, I think. The same is true for birch. So there's some like kindness that you can extend to a tree who is, sharing its sap with you. But I would imagine that if it was in a park or on someone's private property, because you have like all that private property stuff going on in our in our world today, like someone would be like, why is there a maple tap on this tree in my front yard? But Worth a
So,
shot. I don't
right,
know.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. All right, well, that is good. I like
Hmm.
that. Um, in case you missed it, ooh. In case you missed it, this is Siri Undlin, Humbird.
Hmm.
Um, can you tell us a little bit about your story? You're a city kid, but you're a northern city kid, a Midwestern city kid. Yes,
Yep.
Minnesota forever.
Well, not forever. Well, I was born here and I grew up here,
Okay.
and I live here now. I've
Mm-hmm.
lived other places in between, and I assume I'll leave and probably come back.
Yeah.
I love it
Yeah.
here. My whole family's here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And
Yeah.
has music been part of your whole existence?
It's been pretty consistent. My
Yeah.
mom is a Lutheran preacher, so I grew up with like a lot of hymns, a lot of choir time, a lot of church, which music was always my favorite part. So,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely
Yeah.
leaned into that. And um, yeah, the melodies can be so simple and so emotional in that hymnal tradition. So I try to lean into that whenever I can. Hmm.
That's beautiful. I think you do. You can hear that.
Aw, thanks.
Yeah. You've got in 2017. You came out with two EPs.
Hmm. Yeah.
Where else and elsewhere.
Yep. They were
Yeah.
kind of an accident. I was in a different
Awesome.
band at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was kind of like writing songs a little quicker than the band itself was rolling. So I was like, oh, I'll just start a side project and I'll just put this out. No big deal. It'll be kind of like just a side thing to do to keep myself like active and writing. And then over time, Humbird, the project I perform under now, became like my main thing. But those two EPs were kind of like, oh, just put them out, whatever.
I hear you. Okay. Pharmacon was 2019. That was on
Hmm.
purpose.
That was on purpose. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
That record was really like kind of stepping into my own shoes as a songwriter and um, like not solo artist or band leader kind of thing. And I
Hmm.
recorded it with Brian Joseph and Shane Leonard in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and they were really great stewards of the songs. And it's always a little scary making a record with people who are strangers, but I kind of took a leap of faith. They're both dear friends now. We made a record I'm still proud of. Yeah, and it's kept us pretty busy. It sort of kicked off the band and led to some touring and stuff like that. So it's
I
been
love
cool.
that.
Yeah.
Who is the band? I feel like I wrote down that you have a band of players because I know that like
Hmm.
it kind of depends on
Yeah.
probably the stage who
Yeah.
you're bringing out with you, but
Yeah.
what? But a couple people are like are always right or often.
Yeah. Yeah. I've purposely kept it pretty fluid just because in my past experience, having like kind of a rigid approach to who's in the band leads to the end of the band because people's lives change and stuff happens. So I've purposely kind of keep a loose grip on who's playing. But Peter
Mm,
Quersfeld on drums and percussion and Pat Keen on bass and vocals. They've been playing with me for 4 years now, and we have a blast. And then Adeline Stry has, semi-officially joined the band as of like 4 months ago, and we've been having so much fun as a quartet. And I think that's kind of how we'll be touring for the coming year. And it'll probably be different after that. Who knows? But
yeah.
yeah, for now, they're amazing players. Such a gift to play with them.
Were Pete and Pat on Pharmacon?
Pat was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then I didn't realize that you didn't know. So when you went to go record it, you didn't know Brian, Joseph, or Shane,
Or
right?
Shane
Shane.
Leonard. Yeah, I was a fan of Shane's production. I'd heard his work with other artists, and
Mm-hmm.
then Brian Joseph is sort of a legend in his producing and mixing and engineering. So I had heard his name a lot and knew he had worked on records that were like life changing for me. So I sent them like a cold email. I
That's
was like,
awesome.
they're probably not going to answer this at all, but they did, or Shane did. I reached out to Shane first, and Um, yeah, we hung out like once, maybe twice, and it was like, all right, you seem like a cool person. Let's do it. Let's go for it. It
That's
was just
beautiful.
scary. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
My
Mhm.
recording has always been very much like in the comfort zone of like beloveds, you know. So, but
Mhm.
I think there is a special magic when you leap.
Yeah. I was at a point where I needed to do that. You know, it
Yeah,
was like it was time to like jump off a cliff, leave the comfort zone and just like flail around a little bit. And I'm lucky that Shane, especially, and Brian too, are just like really down to leap with me, and we made something that
that's
was like
awesome.
surprising but great. So
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it worked. It doesn't always
Hmm.
work. I leaping is important, and especially when you keep in mind that it might work, it might not. I think
Yeah,
that's key.
I think that the not working is part of the eventual working
Yes.
too.
Yes.
We got to
Well
have those
said.
moments. Was it? I don't know.
Yeah,
But
I
I mean,
think
that
so.
feels like they're tied together. It's hard to remember that.
Mhm.
I might need someone to repeat that at me when it's in the middle of not working. Like,
Yeah,
but
for sure.
and then you went on to record "Still Life." Can you tell us that
Hmm.
came out in October of this past October
Hmm.
21?
Hmm.
Yep, yep, yep. And it's gorgeous, as I've already said.
Thank you.
And let's before we get into the music, the cover is gorgeous. Actually, all your artwork is beautiful. Do you work with different illustrators or artists every
Hmm.
time?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really fun part when the record is finished. I can get kind of stressed out about the industry side of things, but
Hmm.
brainstorming like visual artists to collaborate with and bring the music to life visually is like a highlight. So I tend to focus in on that as opposed to the other elements because it's exciting. But yeah, all the artwork for Still Life is by Alexis Politz, who's an amazing artist living here in the Twin Cities.
Hmm.
Yeah, and the cover is the cover of the house where me and Addie recorded the record. So Still Life is also an accident. That was not an on-purpose record. We called our whoopsie baby.
You're whoopsie
Um,
baby. So you're
we
you're
made it in
two of
Addie's
three.
bedroom. Yeah. Yeah, we Addie's a great multi-instrumentalist and producer, and she wasn't um in the band yet, but she had done some backyard fairy tales with us, and I just love her playing. She and I play together in Her Crooked Heart as well.
Mm,
And we were both stuck at home. We were living together along with like a bunch of other adults in a very small space. It was an intense quarantine experience for everyone, but we made some demos and we were like, oh, this turned out pretty good. You want to do some more? And then like halfway through, we were like, are we making a record? I think we
happening.
might be. And that was Still Life.
Oh, and no part of it sounds accidental. I mean, it's really, I
Cool.
think, exquisite.
Oh, good.
I wrote down that you mentioned in your bio that it's about a house, the inside of the house, the outside of the house. It took place in
Hmm.
the house, and that you both
Hmm.
had yellow bedrooms. Is that?
Bright, bright yellow.
Oh yeah,
Like, like we
not.
moved in and we were like, it's okay. We'll be on tour the whole time. We don't need to really deal with these rooms. And then we were there every day.
Just kidding.
Yep.
Yellow
Hmm.
forever.
Hmm.
How much of the recording actually took place in the house?
I would say like 90% of the
Yeah.
recording. We did go to Holly Hansen's studio in St. Paul, Salon Sonics, to track the drums. And we did a little tracking with Pat on bass and lead guitar. He used to have a studio in a garage. So it was a pretty mobile studio, but most of the textures and experimental noises, which people will kind of hear if they listen to it, it's very like soundscapey. And that was all just in this like very tiny yellow bedroom. Addie and I kind of losing our minds during quarantine.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Did you write most of the songs during quarantine also?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple that predated it that were like finished during the quarantine period, but yeah, they were all like really written. They're like a direct reaction to everything that went on during 2020. And often I'd be in my bedroom kind of fiddling around and I'd hear a little knock on the wall or get a text from Addie who shared a wall with me that was like, hey, that sounds pretty good. You want to hop over here? work on it.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, it was usually I don't know what your process is like, Sarah, but usually you're playing songs for like sometimes years before you're in the studio with them. So it was like really different to show up to Addie's bedroom with
Right?
like a verse and be like, all right, well, let's record and just see what happens. And I think you can feel it in the songs. They're a little bit more like they just go weird places because they didn't have like a set structure when we started.
There was one that ended, I was on my run and I was like, oh, wait, that's where she ends it. Oh, like in the best way. I,
Yeah.
that must, so that's its own kind of leap also, you know, like,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's another one. And what a gift to have. You know, I know that because you also lived in South Minneapolis near George Floyd
Mm-hmm. Square. Mm-hmm.
Square. And
Mm-hmm.
so, so intense, right? And like,
Mm-hmm.
and have a way that you're able to like immediately, I don't know, I guess in face of such largeness, right? Like to get to work on something, I think like and move
Mm-hmm.
it through, that feels like that must have been, I don't know what the right word is, but
It
important.
it was, yeah, it was I don't know if people need to know this when they listen to the record, but it
Yeah.
was very much like a survival tactic. I think our block was very apocalyptic for about a week, and that's like not an exaggeration at all. And I think as all of us living there kind of reacted and then were readjusting and redefining. I mean, it was like it felt like worlds kind of ended, or at least the person I was before is gone, and I think that was true for a lot of people in that neighborhood
Yeah.
in particular. And that's like some chaotic stuff to sort through, especially when you can't go anywhere either. It's like this pandemic, so you're just like in it and making music and creating soft spaces for processing and grieving and relearning. That felt like it was like essential to just getting through the day. It was like, all right, what can we do musically to like calm our nervous system
Mm-hmm.
and process? And so I think the record is pretty low key actually. Like you, if you didn't know that, you wouldn't know that that's like the backdrop, but it was
Yeah.
like yeah, it was very much a necessary space to carve out with songs in order to like be functional.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us right now, and thank you for sharing Still Life with the world. I just
Oh,
cannot recommend it enough.
thanks, Sarah.
You referenced fairy tales in the backyard, which is something that you've done for a few summers,
Hmm.
where you show up in a backyard and you give a
Hmm.
backyard concert, but not just a backyard concert, because you play some songs, and then what do you do in the middle?
We usually tell an old fairy tale. It's so fun. Yeah, it's totally acoustic, always outdoors. The performances are generally between like 20 and 30 minutes long. Like they're quick. We kind of show up to people's private space like a merry band of tricksters. It feels like
Yeah.
sometimes like we're here. How about a fairy tale? Play some songs and often have like amazing conversations with people afterwards. Something about the old folklore really brings it out. And yeah, it's been an amazing way to stay busy as a band during the pandemic and still like really offer up what we feel strongly about, but in a completely different framework. So it's awesome. We came to your backyard.
You
It
came
was
to
so
my
fun.
backyard. Oh my gosh, it was so magical. We were just all transfixed. You're an excellent storyteller, like
Thank
in
you.
that way as well. And I'd never really, or it'd been a long time since I'd experienced storytelling in that way. And I was
Hmm.
just, it was, the weather was lovely and
Hmm.
people brought
Hmm.
like some, food and picnic. And there was just,
Yeah.
it felt so of that moment and that moment only. And that I think is
Yeah.
like one of the magics of any sort of house concert situation, right? Is like
Hmm.
you need all of those elements. They're only going to make one situation. All the people that
Yeah.
showed up on that day, that space, when it's outdoors, that weather, like
Mm-hmm.
it only makes one thing. And so if
Yeah.
you are, if you offer them again, I think if you follow Humbird on the website, you'll probably find out. I highly
Mm-hmm.
recommend treating yourself and your nearest and dearest to something like that. Oh.
Yeah.
I'm back. I'm pretty sure that Siri will join me in just a minute. Yeah. You're back. We're back.
Sorry, I don't. You froze,
We
and I
both
thought it
froze.
might be me.
It's not you, it's me.
So,
It's
okay.
us. It's us. It's the internet. Okay, so that's Fairy Tales in the Backyard. I also want to mention you are going on tour this spring.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like California and Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, yeah?
Yeah, we're announcing it later this week, hopefully the full tour dates, but we're gonna be on the West Coast and the Midwest this spring, and then on the East Coast in the fall.
How exciting!
Yeah, we'll kind of be
Yay!
everywhere, so I hope people come find us. Hmm.
Everybody go find.
Yeah.
Another place that I highly recommend finding Humbird is on Patreon. You have a
Hmm.
beautiful Patreon. As you were talking about the album, I remembered when you offered up, should your vinyl be purple or clear or sea glass or something like that?
Yep,
And
yep.
your vinyl finally arrived, right?
It finally got here. Yep. Yeah, people should be getting them in the mail if they pre-ordered like today or tomorrow.
Sweet.
Yeah. Hmm.
Patreon is a wonderful way to support any artist,
Yeah.
but you get some really great. Humbert offers up some works in progress and
Hmm.
some information about what's going on, sneak peeks at the fairy tales in the backyard when they happen.
Yeah.
Have you enjoyed? How has it felt on your end, like being in the Patreon? Did you join it during pandemic, or were you there before?
I did. Yeah, I joined it kind of right at the beginning because we had so many tour dates get canceled. It was like, oh my gosh. And I love it. I didn't anticipate like how collaborative it could be and how meaningful the interactions are just because you get so used to like Facebook and Instagram, which there's good things that happen there, but it can be so fleeting and passing. And Patreon is great. Connecting with people there is so special, and having some sense of stability, or just, I wouldn't call it stability, but more just predictability of like an exchange that feels like fair and equitable within the music industry. That's just a rare thing. So I've come to appreciate it like very deeply. I love that it exists and I
Yeah,
get to be there. Hmm.
yeah, yep. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I am wondering if you would sing us another song.
Yes,
Yay!
absolutely. So this song is called Summer Storm for Charlotte. Charlotte was our next door neighbor at the house where all of the things happened and where the record was made. She's 5. And I was really struck because on the first week of June, our block was totally, um, I guess, occupied by the National Guard, and the tear gas was so thick on our block. It was hard to breathe indoors, and just sirens and helicopters overhead. It was a really wild time. But during the days, Charlotte, our 5-year-old next door neighbor, would be in the back alley. She was kind of figuring out how to ride her little pink bicycle without training wheels. So those, yeah, uh, there's a lot to be said. But this song is called Summer Storm for Charlotte. And I wrote it about that time period and watching her figure it out. Charlotte, you're getting the hang of it. Look at you now. You're doing it. Charlotte, you're brave enough to admit what you want from the moment. So keep going, kid. The world may not have noticed yet, but I did. Charlotte, it's been a hard month. The noises in the night, we all slept rough. Charlotte, it's beautiful, isn't it? The moon on the rooftops, the silver light drips. Sweet dreams, kid. I hope you find some peace while you're sleeping. Charlotte, you're busy, growing quick flowers in the garden, the summer air sticks. Charlotte, you're bleeding at the knees, climbing up the windshield, trying to reach the storm front. It's coming this way, don't worry about the thunder, it's how the heat breaks. We're all wishing on the rain. Maybe in the downpour, things will change.
Mm.
Thanks,
Oh,
Sarah.
it's so beautiful. Does Charlotte know that she has a song?
We played it for her, yeah. To be honest, Charlotte was really into like electronic dance rave music, so she probably would have preferred a song more in that genre. So I owe her one of those
Good.
someday. Yeah.
Yes. We have two kids, and I had written a song they both have songs that are theirs, but one for my daughter, I sing it all the time. And like at some
Yeah.
point when she became aware of it, then other songs that would come out, she'd be like, Mom, is that about me? It's like, they're not all about you. I mean, and that one said like whiskey a lot. So
Yeah.
that one's not for you, maybe. Um, I'm wondering if you would take us by the ear and spin us out. Tell us something you're listening to that's like getting you hot.
Well, oh my gosh, so many options. I've been listening a lot to Nola Sinephro's Space One, which is
Okay.
an amazing, very calming, just gorgeous, gorgeous, that's a new word,
I like it.
gorgeous tapestry of sounds. She's
Mm.
a UK composer, jazz composer, I think, and I feel like those words can maybe like turn some people off, but it's so accessible. It's a really inviting
Mm.
style of melody and composition, and I put it on all the time. I'm like really into it right now.
I will link to that in the show notes.
Cool.
Share that with
Yeah.
people. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I get like that question has gotten me like so many good things to listen to, so I get very happy about it.
I bet. I bet.
Now I would like an action item. Action item. What is one thing we can do to follow you?
One thing, probably the most, and we touched on it already a lot, but Patreon
Yeah.
is the big thing. There's a lot of ways to stay in touch and they all make a difference, but Patreon is definitely the one that makes this work sustainable. It makes sure it keeps going. I know the same is probably true for you, Sarah. It's true for so many artists. Patreon really does it. If you really
Yeah.
care about an artist and you want them to keep going, that's the spot.
That is the spot. I
Yeah.
have linked to that below as well so that everyone can do it.
Thank
I've made it
you.
real easy. We just made it easy. Easy.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you so much, Siri, for being here.
Yeah,
So I
it's
just
my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yes, yes, yes. I need to thank my patrons because they do
Mhm.
make all these things possible. They make dreaming possible
Oh.
because you like know that you've got some people that want to dream with you, you know?
Mhm.
Yes, there's blank hearts. If anybody, that's how that
Yeah.
works. That's how that works. That's the only thing I get crafty about. I want to thank all the watchers for coming up here. Fridays at noon. Oops, we have lunch. We
Mhm.
watch people talk about their music, and it's really good. I'll be back next week with a new guest. But in the meantime, can I sing a song one more time?
Yes.
Hey, I miss you. And I hope you're doing well. I miss you and hearing your music IRL. So I am thinking that you sing me a song or two while I just sit here in my bathroom saying, hey, Humbird, I miss you. I miss you. And I hope you're doing well. I miss you and hearing your music IRL. So I am thinking that you sing me a song or two while I just sit here in my bathroom saying, hey, I miss you.